L'Adonai kol haaretz, l'Adonai kol haaretz, l'Adonai kol haaretz. Yitzvu, raninu v'zameru, raninu v'zameru, raninu v'zameru. בכל זמרה, זמרו לאדוני בכינור, בכל זמרה. איי נה 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 נה, יא נה 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 נה. איי נה 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 נה, יא נה 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 נה. איי נה 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 נה, יא נה 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 נה. Ay na 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 na. L'Adonai kol haaretz, l'Adonai kol haaretz, l'Adonai kol haaretz. Yitzvu, ranenu v'zameru, ranenu v'zameru, ranenu v'zameru. בכינור, בכל זמרה, זמרו לאדוני בכינור, בכל זמרה. איי נה 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 נה, איי נה 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 נה, יא נה 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 נה, איי נה 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 נה. Ya na 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 na. Ay na 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 na. Page 128. Dodi Li words from Shir HaShirim, the Song of Songs. אני לא ארואה בשושנים. דודי לי, דודי לי, דודי לי, ואני לא ארואה בשושנים. דודי דודי לי, דודי לי, ואני לא הרואה בשושנים. דודי לי, מקוצרת מור ולבונה, מור דודי לי, דודי לי, דודי לי, ואני לא הרואה בשושנים. דודי לי. Page 137, Adonai Oz La'amo Yiten. Adonai Yivarech et Amo B'Shalom. May God grant strength to our people. May God grant us the gift of peace.
Adonai Oz La'amo Yiten.
Vashalom. Adonai Oz le'amo yiten Adonai yevarech et amo. Adonai Oz le'amo yiten Adonai yevarech et amo. Vashalom, 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 Vashalom. We welcome the Sabbath bride on page 138 with the words of Lecha Dodi. Adoni לקראת כלה בני שבת נקבלה לך דודי 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 לקראת כלה בני שבת Kabbalat.
בואי בשלום, עצרת בעלה, גם בשמחה ובצהלה, תוך אמוני עם סגולה, בואי חלה, בואי חלה.
לחנוני לקראת כלה בני שבת נקבלה. לחנוני לקראת כלה בני שבת נקבלה. יאללה לילה, 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 יאללה לילה. לחנוני לקראת כלה בני שבת נקבלה. לחנוני לקראת כלה בני שבת נקבלה. And so we welcome in the Shabbat with the lighting of the candles. And I don't have a microphone, so I'm going to use mine. We're on page 119, is it?
I should know it.
Yeah, I think you'll know it.
Help me. I know you.
You've done this before. Drink candle. Yeah, drink candles. Doesn't help that the air conditioning just happens to be right above.
Okay, I'll do
Nope. One more time. Mid-feeling.
Why will you just be too-
Ah, no. That would be too easy.
Oh, try your right hand. Go.
It's a 50-year rabbinic class. There you go. Well done. Okay. And the bracha.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher kiddushanu v'tov etzavanu lahadlikne shel Shabbat.
Amen. Well done. You sound like you've done this before. Let's turn to each other, welcome each other as people in the sanctuary who haven't been here for a while, or new people. Take the opportunity to greet them, make each other welcome, get to know each other, make sure that everyone feels welcome. Shabbat Shalom. מזמור שיר ליום השבת, טוב להודות לאדוני, ולזמר לשמך עליון, ולזמר לשמך עליון. מזמור שיר ליום השבת, טוב להודות לאדוני, ולזמר לשמך עליון, ולזמר לשמך עליון.
להגיד בבוקר חסדך, באמונתך בלילות, עלה הסוף ועלה ועלה היגיון וכינון.
מזמור שיר ליום השבת, טוב להודות לאדוני, ולזמר לשמך עליון, ולזמר לשמך עליון.
כי שימחתני אדוני בפועלך, במעשה ידיך ענה. מה גדלו מעשיך אדוני, מאוד עמקו מחשבותיך.
מזמור שיר ליום השבת, טוב להודות לאדוני, ולזמר לשמך עליון, ולזמר לשמך עליון. צדיק אתה אמר יברח,
כארץ בלבנון, בלבנון נזכה
שתולים בעבר אדוני, בחצרות אלוהינו יפריחו עודנו בשיבה, ברעננים יהיו להגיד ישר אדוני צורי ולא עוולתה. Page 142. Shalom Aleichem. We welcome the angels and the angels welcome us. May our week be blessed with the beauty as we have prepared Shabbat, so may our week be filled with blessing. Shalom Aleichem, Malachei Hasharet, Malachei Elyon, Melech, Malachei Amlachim, HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Chem leShalom, Malachei Hashalom, Malachei Elyon, Bimelech, Malachei Amlachim, HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Barchuni leShalom, Malachei Hashalom, Malachei Elyon, Bimelech, Malachei Amlachim, HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Chem leShalom, Malachei Hashalom, Malachei Elyon, Bimelech, Malachei Amlachim, HaKadosh Baruch Hu. We rise on page 144 for the Chatzi Kaddish and the call to prayer.
יתקדש מרבה,
Amen.
והמן תברא ירותה וימליך מלכותה, בחייכון וביומכון ובחייתך בית ישראל.
בעגלה, בעגלה, ובזמן קריב.
ואמרו
אמן. יהי שמי רבה מבורך, לעלם ולעל מעל מיה, יתברך.
יתברך וישתבח ויתפאר ויתרומם, ויתנשא ויתהדר ויתעלה ויתהלל, שמי לקודשה
בריחו.
אלא מן כל ברכתה ושירתה.
תושבחתה ונחמתה, תמירן בעלמה.
ואמרו
אמן.
ברכו את אדוני המבורך.
ברוך אדוני המבורך לעולם ועד. Please be seated and join with me in the Hebrew on page 148. Baruch ata Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, asher bidvaro ma'ariv aravim, בחוכמה פותח שערים ובתבונה משנה עיתים, ומחליף את הזמנים ומסדר את הכוכבים במשמרותיהם ברקיע כרצונו. בורא יום ולילה גולל אור מפני חושך וחושך מפני אור. ומעביר יום ומביא לילה ומבדיל בין יום ובין לילה. אדוני צבאות שמו אל חי וקיים. תמיד ימלוך עלינו לעולם ועד. ברוך אתה אדוני המריב ערבים. אהבת עולם בית ישראל עמך אהבת.
בכל לבבך ובכל נפשך ובכל מאודיך, והיו הדברים האלה אשר חנוכים מצווך היום על לבביך, ושיננתם לבניך ודיברת בם בשבתך בביתך ובלכתך בדרך ובשוכבך ופומך, וקשרתם לאות ידיך, והיו לטוטפות בין עיניך, וכתבתם על מזוזות ביתך ובשעריך. ויאמר אדוני אל משה לאמור, דבר אל בני ישראל, ואמרת עליהם, ועשו להם ציצית על כנפי בגדיהם לדורותם, ונתנו הציצית הכנף בתיר תכלת, והיה לכם לציצית וראיתם אותו, וזכרתם את כל מצוות אדוני ועשיתם אותם, ולא תטורו אחרי לבבכם ואחרי עיניכם אשר אתם זונים אחריהם, למען תזכרו ועשיתם את כל מצוותיי והייתם קדושים לאלוהיכם. אני אדוני אלוהיכם אשר הוצאתי אתכם מארץ מצרים להיות לכם אלוהים. אני אדוני אלוהיכם,
Adonai Elohechem emet. It seems very apropos to read the paragraph on the bottom of page 157. There are so many places in the world filled with strife, so many places with brokenness, if you'll join with me. In a world torn by violence and pain, a world far from wholeness and peace, give us the courage to say, there is one God in heaven and on earth. The high heavens declare your glory. May earth reveal your justice and love. From bondage in Egypt we were delivered. At Sinai we bound ourselves to your way. Inspired by prophets and instructed by sages, time and again we overcame oppressive forces. Though our failings are many and our faults are great, it has been our glory to bear witness to our God, keeping alive in dark ages your vision of a world redeemed. Let us continue to work for the day when the nations will be one and at peace. Then shall we rejoice as Israel did, singing at the shores of the sea.
מי כמוך באלים אדוני, מי כמוך נהדר בקודש, מי כמוך באלים אדוני, מי כמוך נהדר בקודש.
מי כמוך באלים אדוני, מי כמוך נהדר בקודש, מי כמוך באלים אדוני, מי כמוך נהדר בקודש.
מלכותך ראו בניך בוקע ים לפני משה ומרים. זה אלי ענו ואמרו, אדוני ימלוך לעולם ועד. מי כמוך באלים אדוני, מי כמוך נהדר בקודש, מי כמוך באלים אדוני, מי כמוך נהדר בקודש.
מי כמוך באלים אדוני, מי כמוך נהדר בקודש.
ונאמר כי יפדה אדוני את יעקב, וגרו מיד חזק ממנו. ברוך אתה אדוני גר ישראל.
On page 160, Hashkivenu Adonai Eloheinu leshalom v'hamidenu malkeinu lechayim. Grant, O God, that we lie down in peace and raise us up to life renewed. Hashkivenu, Hashkivenu, Adonai Eloheinu leshalom, leshalom.
השכיבנו, השכיבנו, אדוני אלוהינו לשלום.
והעמידנו מלכנו לחיים ולשלום ולשלום. השכיבנו, השכיבנו, Sukat Shlomecha Shkivenu Adonai Eloheinu Adonai Eloheinu Leshalom. Let there be love and understanding among us. Let peace and friendship be our shelter from life's storms. Eternal One, help us to walk with good companions, to live with hope in our hearts, eternity in our thoughts, that we may lie down in peace and rise up, waiting to do your will. Hashkivenu, Hashkivenu, Eloheinu leshalom. Baruch ata Adonai, Haporei sukat shalom aleinu ve'al kol amo Yisrael ve'al Yerushalayim. Blessed are you, Eternal One, whose shelter of peace is spread over us, over all your people Israel, and over Jerusalem. Page 162. V'shamru b'nei Yisrael et HaShabbat, la'asot et HaShabbat ledorotam berit olam. The people of Israel shall keep Shabbat. This is our covenant for all time. Yain na 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 na. Yain na 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 na. Yain na na yain na 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 na. Yain na 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 na.
ושמו בני ישראל את השבת, לעשות את השבת לדורותם ברית עולם.
Yain na 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 na.
ביני ובין בני ישראל אותי לעולם, כי ששת ימים עשה אדוני את השמיים ואת הארץ.
Yain na 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 na.
וביום השביעי שבת נבש, וביום השביעי שבת נבש.
Yain na 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 na. Yain na 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 na. Yain na 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 na. Yain na 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 na. Yain na 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 na. Yain na 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 na. Yain na 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 na. We rise on page 164 for the Amidah and the Tefillah. As is our tradition, we'll chant the first three benedictions as a community and then continue in silence, whether using the words of our prayer books or the words of our hearts. Page 164.
Adonai שפתי תפתח ופי יגיד תהילתך. ברוך אתה אדוני אלוהינו ואלוהי אבותינו ואמותינו, אלוהי אברהם, אלוהי יצחק ואלוהי יעקב, אלוהי שרה, אלוהי רבקה, אלוהי רחל, אלוהי לאה, האל הגדול, הגיבור והנורא, עליון, גומר חסדים טובים וקונה הכל, וזוכר חסדי אבות ואימהות, ומביא גאולה לבני בניהם, למען שמו באהבה, מלך עוזר ומושיע ומגן, ברוך אתה אדוני, מגן אברהם וישחק שרה. אתה גיבור לעולם אדוני, מחיי מתים אתה רב והושיע, משיב הרוח ומוריד הגשם, משיח השמש ומוריד האטר, מחכה חיים בחסד, מחיים מתים ברחמים רבים, סומך נופלים ורופא חולים, ומתיר אסורים, ומקיים אמונתו לישני עפר. מי כמוך בעל גבורות ומיתוג מלך, מלך במיתוג חייך ומשמיח ישוע, ונאמן אתה לחיות מתים. ברוך אתה אדוני מחיי המתים. אתה קדוש ושמך קדוש, וקדושים בכל יום יהללוך סלע. ברוך אתה אדוני האל הקדוש.
ולרצון נמרי פי, והגיון ליבי לפניך. Adonai tzuri v'goali, may the words of my mouth and the meditations of my heart be acceptable to you, O God, my rock and my redeemer. Imrei fi vegion libi
lefanecha
Adonai tzuri Adonai tzuri Vegoali, Vegoali.
Shabbat Shalom, everyone. And to all my friends watching at home, Good Shabbos. It's been my great joy over the years to stand on stage and to perform in musical shows of all kinds, different times in my life when I was a little kid and as an adult, even with my children. And there's nothing that quite approximates the terror and fear that comes along with opening night. You don't know what the audience is going to think. You don't know whether you'll remember all your lines, lyrics. And I'm having some of a residual terror for my own son, Aaron, whose opening night is tonight, for the Chapel Off Chapel show Parade, which begins its run. And that's happening in just a few minutes. So offer a silent prayer for Aaron and for the cast, who many of you would have met some weeks ago when its director, Mark, and the cast all came here. And even we were treated to a song by longtime TBI family member Montana Sharp, who plays the role of Lucille Frank in this production. So that's really special. Well, on the same day that the judicial overhaul measure, officially known as the law to cancel the reasonableness standard, passed Knesset by a vote of 64-0, a standard which serves as a kind of safety valve, permitting the Supreme Court to redress objectively irrational decisions made by the government. And what government doesn't make such decisions? On that same day, 4 Israeli newspapers published covers like no one in Israel had ever seen before. They were, these covers, completely black, with the words, Yom Shachor L'Demokratia HaYisraelit, a black day for Israeli democracy, written in very small white text at the bottom of the page. This blackout was the brainchild of the Israeli high-tech protest movement, a group of representatives from high-tech companies, including CEOs and venture capitalist investors, entrepreneurs, and regular employees. This was described in some length in the Jerusalem Post on the 25th. Their paid advertisement was an expensive, elaborate statement. Many members of the Israeli public did not realize that it was a paid ad. It was a bit tricky. Even so, it should not be casually dismissed, for it reflects the views of millions of Israelis who this week continued their more than 6.5-month protest in the streets of Israel, many going so far as to walk the distance between Tel Aviv up to Yerushalayim. Top nuclear scientists are weighing up leaving their positions. Reservists in the Israeli Defense Forces are suggesting they will not report. Healthcare workers, too. Polls reveal a desire on the part of as many as 28% of Israelis to leave the country. Former Prime Minister Ehud Olmert made headlines when predicting a civil war. Indeed, it's a mess. Israel's credit rating, its business climate, the stock market there have all been shaken by this Knesset vote. This week, too, and perhaps you may have seen this pop up on social media, there was a post also set on an entirely black background on which appeared the words Shisha B'Av. Did anyone see that? Meaning the 6th of Av. When I first saw it on Facebook, I thought, wow, this is really striking. Its creator, in a none too subtle way, was comparing the bill that had passed the Knesset, threatening the balance of power, and which protesters are convinced will make for a less democratic, and more autocratic Israel, comparing that with the commemoration on Wednesday and Thursday of this week of Tisha B'Av. Rabbi Jill Jacobs, executive director of Truah, the liberal human rights group, remarked that in Israel, even the most secular spaces, we find people referring to what the government is doing as Churban Habayit, the destruction of the temple. How so? Well, it's not just the proximity of one date in the calendar with another, but because the destruction of the temples in Jerusalem and the subsequent loss of Jewish sovereignty in the land of Israel are widely understood to have occurred because of internal divisions and baseless hatred. We call this in Hebrew, sinat chinam. Arguably, it is the sort of division that we're seeing in Israeli society today. When that social media creator wrote Shisha B'Av, that person was hitching the horse to the wagon, implying that the Churban, the destruction of the temples, and the loss of Jewish sovereignty is more than memory, but akin to reality. Ilan Block is a man who heads up a tourism company called Accord Tours. He's a longtime Israeli guide and a blogger for the Times of Israel. He wrote something this week which I found very interesting. He addressed himself to the confluence of today's Israel with that of ancient Israel. Writing in the Times, Ilan's headline screamed, "I don't want Jewish unity." What? Who isn't for Jewish unity? Kol Yisrael arevin ze lazeh. Every Jew is responsible for one another, right? Kol Yisrael chaverim. All Jews are friends. Am Yisrael chai, we shout. But in his article, he reveals a depth of antipathy and concern in Israel which cannot be dismissed. He wrote, "Enough of the meaningless slogans and platitudes. I don't want to hear calls for Jewish unity and for Ahavat Yisrael." He's a stirrer, it would appear, this Ilan. "I don't need to love my fellow Jew just because he's a Jew. I don't want to unify with people who support terror attacks against fields and cars and homes of innocent Palestinian people, just because they happen to belong to the wrong nation." He went on, "I don't want to unify with people who support Jewish supremacy. I don't want to unify with people who want to damage the rights of the LGBTQ community or African asylum seekers, non-Orthodox Judaisms, and women. I don't need that kind of Jewish unity. I need," he wrote, finally, "Jewish leadership. I need a Jewish state which will foster a society which is truly a moral exemplar. I need Israel to live up to its potential." I don't know as much as some about what's actually happening on the ground in Israel, but I read everything I can, and I talk to those who may know more than me. But it seems to me that there is fear in the land, and more than a whiff of autocracy in the air. And what is it in essence that the people are so afraid of? I surmise that what people are marching about, what they're so concerned about, is that the Israel established by their parents and grandparents the Israel for which they fought and their comrades died, the Israel that promises in its declaration to foster the development of the country for the benefit of all its inhabitants, based on freedom and justice and peace, as envisioned by the prophets of Israel. Complete equality of social and political rights to all the inhabitants, irrespective of religion, of race, or sex. They are fighting for the values in the Declaration, including freedom of religion, freedom of conscience, education, and culture. I think that they fear and they are prepared to protest that these rights and these aspirations are being snatched away by those whose vision for the state is incompatible with democracy. These are strong words, but it is a serious moment in Israel. Deeply held convictions about what the Jewish state will be are being challenged, and Israel is in a precarious state. This past week, and some of you may not have seen this part, there was introduced a doozy of a bill, a draft bill that would enshrine in law forever, making it unassailable in the courts, that yeshiva students would forever enjoy an exemption from military service, an exemption which in 2017 the Supreme Court already ruled was unconstitutional. This is a big deal, for in Israel, her defense forces are known as the Army of the People, an army that has always fought with the belief that it had shared values, that it defended democracy. Now some are wondering whether this is any longer the case. So will Israel, God forbid, go the way of two prior Commonwealth states? Is Tisha B'Av a memory, or is it a reality? I am hopeful, because I'm always hopeful, that Israel will turn back from the brink, and that those who are working to achieve compromise and moderation will ultimately prevail. I don't agree with Ilan Block, frankly. What he has entitled his blog is maybe to sell newspapers or to create a chatter. We are Chaverim. Jews of every stripe are family and friends. For if we are not, Israel cannot survive, not in the way that we've become accustomed to. So that's what I had prepared to say tonight. If over Kiddush you would like to chat more about it, to share your views and thoughts, I would love to do that with you. Shabbat Shalom.
Please rise as we return to our prayer book on page 586, 586, and our concluding prayers with the Aleinu.
לתת גדולה ליוצר בראשית, שלא עשנו כגויי הארצות, ולא שמנו כמשפחות האדמה, שלא שם חלקנו כאם, וגורלנו ככל המונם. ואנחנו קוראים ומשתחווים ומודים לפני מלך מלכי המלכים הקדוש ברוך הוא הקדוש ברוך הוא ונאמר והיה אדוני למלך על כל הארץ ביום ההוא יהיה אדוני אחד ושמו אחד.
Please remain standing for a moment. On page 596, when cherished ties are broken and the chain of love is shattered, only trust and the strength of faith can lighten the heaviness of the heart. At times, the pain of separation seems more than we can bear. But if we dwell too long on our loss, we embitter our hearts and harm ourselves and those about us. The psalmist said that in his affliction he learned the law of God. And in truth, grief is a great teacher when it sends us back to serve and bless the living. We learn how to counsel and comfort those who, like ourselves, are bowed with sorrow. We learn when to keep silent in their presence and when a word will assure them of our love and of our concern. Thus, even when they are gone, the departed are with us, moving us to live as in their higher moments they themselves wished to live. We remember them now. They live in our hearts. They are an abiding blessing.
This Shabbat, we especially think of those in the period of Shloshim. Danilo Kutsenko, Helena Grunfeld, Herbert Irons. The yahrzeits which fall this Shabbat: Eli Adurian, Abraham Chapman, Holman Cockram, Andrew Dobos, Frank Firestone, Joseph Fradkin, Harry Goldstein, Lois Grigg, Danny Hamilton, Pamela Hyatt, Renee Ingersoll, Trudy Ingram, Marianne Kaufman, Ernst Kaufman, Sidney Kaufman, Ernst Kahn, Sigmund Kranz, Gertrude Langer, Helen Light, Kathy Lobbs, Alfred Lowy, Leslie Markman, Esther Maybrook, Alan Michael, Harold Michael, Rudy Moser, Theo Moss, Henry Nathan, Patricia Peck, Hanka Pilichovsky, Jaime Rockman, Frank Spernat, Evzen Strelecki, Alfred Sussman, Viv Swinnerton, Katerina Yarowi. If there are other names, please call them out as I look around the room. And we think of all those dying so needlessly in conflicts all around the world, in Ukraine and Sudan and elsewhere. Zichronam livracha. May their memories be for a blessing as we turn to page 598 and the words of Kaddish Yatom. Yitkadal v'yitkadash shemei rabba.
Amen.
Ba'alma divra chirutei v'yamlich malchutei. B'chayechon uvyomechon uv'chayei dechol beit Yisrael. Ba'agala uvizman kariv ve'imru amen. Yehei shmei rabba mevorach leolam ulal me'almaya. Yitbarach v'yishtabach v'yitba'ar v'yitromam v'yitnaseh. Vitadar, vitale, vitalal, shemei de kudesha, brichu. Le'ela min kal birchata v'shirata, tushbechata v'nechemata, ta'amiran be'alma ve'imru amen. Yehei shlama rabam min shmaya, v'chayim aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael ve'imru amen. Oseh shalom bimromav, hu ya'aseh shalom aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael ve'imru amen. May the one who creates harmony on high bring peace to us, to all of Israel, and to all of humanity. And we say, Amen. Please be seated as Jackie Magid, who is our Vice President, shares a few announcements on behalf of the Board of Governance. Yep, you're live.
Temple Beth Israel acknowledges that the Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander peoples are the first peoples of Australia. The Boonwurrung people of the Kulin Nation are the traditional owners of the land on which our synagogue, Temple Beth Israel, is located, for which they have never ceded sovereignty. We pay respects to their elders, past and present. Shabbat Shalom, everybody, and thank you for joining us and being part of our community, whether you're here in person or online. I will just point out that this is at the front door, and so rather than take you through all the announcements, please pick one up on your way out. But I will draw your attention to our Shabbaton, which is being run on the 2nd of September in the Yarra Valley by Rabbi Gary. Please book in early. It's a full day event from 9 a.m. to 9 p.m. And we are running family Shabbats, and the dates are on the back of the flyer. So if you know anyone who has little ones who would like to be part of a family Shabbat, please join us. And otherwise, I wish you a very happy Shabbat Shalom.
Shabbat Shalom. Thank you. And so I'll invite us to rise as... Ooh. We do have wine and grape juice. I was a little bit remiss. If I can get you to just wheel those around. The red is wine. Well, we call it wine, I know, but Kiddush wine, I'm not sure whether that counts. The Frenchman in me kind of protests that nomenclature. If you'll join me, the wine is red, the grape juice is white. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam borei pri hagafen. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam אשר קידשנו במצוותיו ורצבנו, ושבת קודשו באהבה וברצון הנחילנו, זיכרון למעשה וראשית, כי הוא יום תחילה למקראי קודש, זכר ליציאת מצרים, כי באנו בחרת, ואותנו קידשת מכל העמים, ושבת קודשך באהבה וברצון הנחלתנו, ברוך אתה אדוני מקדש השבת. לחיים.
It's been very nice to be with everyone tonight, and we wish those, especially online, only the very best. Please join me in reciting Hamotzi. Baruch Atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam hamotzi lechem min haaretz.
Amen. Shabbat Shalom and B'te'avon.
Shissel. Would you like a little shissel?